In a world where you can automate almost anything so it can be done at any scale, here's the strangest advice you're going to hear from me. I believe sometimes you should deliberately do marketing that will never scale up and that you can't automate, even if that means that you personally have to sit and do a whole chunk of work. Why would I recommend this? Surely one of my jobs is to make your marketing easier. Well, yes, that's true, once you've figured out what marketing works. But doing marketing experiments yourself is an important part of figuring out the specific tactics that'll work for your MSP. As business owners, you and I love things that are scalable and repeatable, right? We like processes, automation, efficiency, and yes, that's where you want to end up with your marketing. But in the early days of trying out a new marketing channel, you can't always jump straight to automation. And here's why. Not all marketing works for all businesses. What works brilliantly for the MSP down the road from you might flop for you. The only way to find out what actually works for your business is to test it manually in a way that doesn't scale. For example, let's say you want to try LinkedIn outreach. And sure, there are tools out there that'll blast out hundreds of automated messages every week. But if you don't yet know what message resonates with your ideal prospects, then blasting out hundreds of messages just means you'll annoy more people faster. Instead, you're better off writing a handful of personal connection requests every day. Try different approaches, test out different messages, and see what kind of response you get. Once you know what works, then you can look at scaling or systemizing it. Here's another example: follow-up emails. You might want to eventually build an automated nurture sequence inside your CRM. But before you do that, it's worth sending a batch of personal follow-ups to prospects one by one to see which subject lines get opened, which wording gets replies, that kind of stuff. Once you know, you can then plug those learnings into automation and let software do the heavy lifting. And here's my key point. Marketing is not a one-size-fits-all game. Every market, every town, every vertical is slightly different. So in the early days of trying something new, you've got to be willing to roll up your sleeves and do the kind of marketing that just isn't scalable. Let me give you 3 more practical examples. Number 1, handwritten letters to prospects. Everybody has too much email, but nobody gets lots of nice stuff in the post anymore through the mail. So a short handwritten note to a dream prospect stands out a mile. You can even include your business card or a printed case study. And sure, yeah, it takes time, but that personal effort is exactly what makes it memorable. Number 2, personally following up after events. Instead of dumping business cards into a CRM and firing off a generic email, pick 5 to 10 people you met at an event and send each of them a tailored follow-up. Mention what you talked about when you met and link to something useful or suggest a quick call. It's way more effort than an email blast, but those connections tend to stick. And number 3, LinkedIn voice notes. Instead of typing another "thanks for connecting" message, send them a 20 to 30 second LinkedIn voice note. It's personal, it's surprising, and it shows there's a real human behind the profile. Of course, you can't outsource this, you can't really automate it, and that's exactly why it works. I guess the way to think about this is it's R&D, it's research and development for your marketing. Once you've tested and proven what works for your specific MSP, then you can start building processes, automations, and systems around it. So don't be afraid of doing scrappy, unscalable marketing in the short term. That's where the insights come from. It's how you figure out what works, and once you know what works, then, and only then, do you scale it up and automate it.
Paul Green's MSP Marketing Edge.